So I'm often asked, what is cloud computing? The term cloud refers to really the metaphor for the internet cloud. Terms such as grid computing, utility computing, computing on demand are all synonymous with cloud computing. And they all really focus on the on-demand, scalable delivery of computing services over the internet. Computing as a service. Customers don't buy, don't manage, don't have to have expertise in the computing infrastructure that they're using. They don't rent or lease or purchase that infrastructure. What they do is deal with contracting for the computing power, the computing functionality as a service. This can be traditional IT services. This can be software applications, database applications, content delivery, even storage is now delivered over the internet as a service. This really frees the user from having to have the expertise in the technology and has that infrastructure delivered through the cloud. Again, I find it to be a very rapidly expanding model that a lot of clients of all sizes are getting interested in. Some examples. Amazon has the EC2 or Elastic Cloud Compute Service. Amazon has the S3 or Simple Storage Service for cloud storage. Microsoft now has a cloud offering, as do a number of other companies. But cloud services also take a very simple mass market form as well. Gmail and Google Apps are, for example, cloud-based computing services, often thought of more as software as a service. These services create a number of legal issues. Some of them are traditional legal issues that you'd find with IT outsourcings or other types of service provider arrangements, but many are new and unique to the cloud. Some of the issues that arise with cloud computing are similar to traditional issues involving outsourcing, involving other service provider models. But a number of the issues are new and result from the paradigm shift that comes about because of cloud computing. This paradigm shift from purchasing IT as infrastructure to purchasing IT and software as a service. Cloud computing really began, or cloud computing was initially offered in a variety of forms. A number of these were larger mass market services, Gmail, Google Apps, other services that weren't used in critical functions. But the rapid evolution of cloud computing has really brought about an increase in the significance of the role that cloud computing services play for a variety of companies. These services, cloud computing services, are being used in ever more significant, more mission-critical roles within companies. Now, what we haven't seen with that same rise in the significance and the importance of cloud computing is some of the legal terms that we'd expect to see with those significant services. Service levels and other commitments, representations and warranties, indemnifications and other liability provisions that you typically see in agreements for services that are mission critical are often not found in typical cloud computing agreements. This places an emphasis on the cloud computing agreement and on really forming that agreement, making sure that the cloud computing agreement fits the cloud computing services being provided. There are a number of other issues that come into play with cloud computing. You're literally placing your private information, your trade secrets, your know-how, a lot of your critical company data on third-party servers. You often don't know where those third-party servers are located. Cloud computing centers, even though the service is being received here in the United States, may be located in a non-U.S. location, may be located in multiple non-U.S. locations. And due to the architecture of cloud computing networks, it may be the case that your services are actually being provided from several locations outside of the United States or locations in and outside of the United States at the same time. What does this mean in terms of cross-border data transfer issues, cross-border privacy issues, other more core intellectual property issues regarding patents or disclosures of trade secrets? All of these should be dealt with in the cloud computing agreement. Perhaps the biggest issue, or at least the hot button issue around cloud computing these days, is privacy and security. Again, relying on third-party facilities to often provide mission-critical services should raise the same issues around privacy and security that are raised when you're providing mission-critical services using your own computing facilities. But, and perhaps surprisingly, cloud computing arrangements often don't deal with these issues, privacy, security, and related issues that, again, are very important when you're looking at this from the company perspective. So while there are many similarities between traditional outsourcing arrangements, service provider arrangements, other IT services agreements, and cloud computing, what we find is the paradigm shift of cloud computing really does present some new issues, new legal issues that need to be dealt with and contended with when your company is using cloud computing. We'll cover these issues. We'll also look at the definition of terms around cloud computing and hopefully leave you with a greater understanding for both the practical and the legal issues around cloud computing. I hope you can join us. Hi, my name is Jason Haislmaier. I'm a partner here at Holme, Roberts & Owen up in our Boulder office. I'm co-chair of our intellectual property, technology, and media practice and focus a lot of my efforts on technology and intellectual property transactions. As many of you know, I have a particular specialty in open source software and related licensing, but my practice really spans all areas and facets of intellectual property and technology transactions, from initial agreements with employees and founders through to licenses and software development agreements, through to technology outsourcings and other larger transactions, as well as M&A transactions, financings, and other corporate deals that are reliant on intellectual property as a key asset. I'll be presenting at the Institute this year on cloud computing and hope you can join me.